everybody, Greg Foster here with the tie-dye mindset. Today I got a great one for you. We've got Barefoot Lazer tie-dye, one of my favorite artists out there. If you haven't found Josh's work, I highly recommend you go find him on Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, all that stuff, and we'll post that down below in the description. But today I'm super excited. I get to talk to another amazing dye artist and find out what makes him tick and what makes his work just so appealing and great to look at. So Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I know we've been going back and forth for a little while, and you know, with life and how everything happens, sometimes we get a little bit delayed, but here we are today. It's a new year, 2022. We got great things ahead of us. We got lots of tie-dye to do and lots of ways to bring rainbows and color into this world. So thanks again for joining us. I'm really looking forward to our discussion.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So as you know, my aim for this series and this channel and all the interviews that I'm doing is really getting into the mindset of some of those tie-dyers out there that have really taken the craft to just a level that a lot of us out there in the community kind of aspire to or really look up to. You know, some of you more advanced artists have really devoted a lot of time and energy and study and in finding great ways to put dye on fabric. And so I guess I'll just start it off is, you know, what is it about tie-dye that got you into this craft?
I mean, I guess it's kind of changed over time. I've been tie-dyeing for a little while, you know, and I guess like when I first started getting into tie-dye, I mean, I was probably in high school, which was about 15, 17 years ago, I guess, when I started high school at this point. Yeah. And I'm dating myself here. And
yeah, I was just gonna say.
But so I don't know. I think at that point it was kind of about the culture. You know, I really liked jam band style music, and I liked you know, I kind of grew up in a smaller kind of hippie-ish community, and it was like, you know, tie-dye kind of meant like, you know, you could wear a tie-dye shirt and you were like, I don't know, if you like smoking weed or something, you know, it's kind of synonymous. And or like, you know, you like the Grateful Dead. I was really into the Dave Matthews Band in high school, and not that I still love them very much. They really helped form who I was as a person. A lot of jam band music. So I guess in short, when I first was getting into tie-dye, probably the culture was really what drew me to it. And like my dad had made some tie-dyes when I was a kid, so I kind of like was like stealing his tie-dye shirts. I'd be like wearing them to school, thought I was a cool dude, you know. And maybe made a couple tie-dyes in high school, you know. I had some like, I think I got some dress shirts I was going to tie-dye. They were like 75% polyester probably. You know, I had no idea that it had to be cotton or anything. So I tie-dyed some polyester shirts, and they were like super faded out, but thought they were super cool, you know. And just time went on, and I think over time, probably just the opportunity for growth. I kind of like I like learning things, you know. I like with tie-dye, you can always be learning. And so it's you kind of get addicted to the growth, you know, if you will. You know, you can learn, and then all the other people in the community pushing each other, blah, 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 you know. So it's, I don't know, I think there's a lot of different things about tie-dye that can pull people in, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people that I've spoken with, and myself included, you know, identifying with tie-dye, it's really easy to kind of harken back to those hippie days and psychedelics and stoner culture and things of that nature. You know, as we're in 2022 now, which is kind of unbelievable, you know, I've seen, and I'm sure that you have as well, that the expansion of tie-dye has really gone a little more mainstream and away from just that sort of stoner hippie culture. What's your take on that, and how do you think that that's helped you as an artist and helped you get, you know, your work out there?
Man, I guess, yeah, it's definitely way more than spirals and stuff. you know, it's funny. I mean, just like for me personally, it's like, yeah, I mean, my mindset has grown since then. You know, it's like I don't smoke weed anymore. I've been sober for a while, you know, so off all sorts of things. So that's a whole nother story though. But anyway, I would say that, you know, it's just kind of like with the, oh man, I mean, I don't even know. I could go so many directions with this. The internet has just exponentially grown the art form, man. Cause it's like, I mean, when I first started out, it was kind of like, I mean, the internet was there obviously in like 2010ish, but I wasn't, you know, I didn't have social media. I didn't do all that stuff, you know, and it's like, really what helped me grow was it was me and like two other dudes who were tie-dyeing together when I first started really getting into it. And we would be pushing each other. You know, we all lived in the same house together. So it's like, I would make a tie-dye and those dudes would be like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm going to make a cooler tie-dye. And then like, they would make cool tie-dyes and be like, damn, that's cool, man. So then like, I'd be like, damn, I got to make something cooler. And so that really pushed me to become better in that time period. And now with the internet, it's the same thing, only it's not like the two dudes in your house pushing you. It's like the best people all over the world that you're like seeing constantly, like, damn, man, like, got it. It just really like, I feel like people from all over the place are pushing each other to grow. And that's a good thing, I guess, you know, because it's really bringing the art form higher and higher. You know, who knows where the ceiling is? I don't think that it's found.
Yeah, I think the evolution of tie-dye, you know, we are certainly, again, with that internet awareness out there, the community at large is seeing what's possible. And I think the real expert dyers, and I would certainly include you in that category, are really pushing themselves to push the boundaries of what's possible with, you know, different tying techniques, different dyeing techniques, use of color placement and combinations that, yeah, I think the best is yet to come, honestly. Which leads me to my next question is, it does take a lot of time and practice to get to a level of performance or ability that I know a lot of people in the community want to get really, really quickly by watching tutorials or asking questions of the dyers. What was it for you, do you think, that got you to the level that you are today? Is it really is it more, you know, the ability to spend hours and hours and hours and months and months and months perfecting your technique? Was it somebody out there? I know that, you know, we talked real briefly about Jamming On, how they helped you out. And, you know, I see you in Love on Hate on their website. So what really helped you get to where you are? And what would your advice be to some of the newbies out there just trying to get into the art form?
I mean, for me, I am taking currently, you know, as I'm saying, it's like, it was the slow and steady route for me. I think a lot of people want it to be really quick, and it blows me away because some of the people who are really killing it these days have only been tie-dyeing for like 2 or 3 years. And it like, that blows my mind, because when I had been tie-dyeing for 3 years, the tie-dyes looked really bad. You know, it's like, it took years and years to even get to a point where it like didn't look like the crappy tie-dye that you see. You know what I mean? It's like, if it's like I mean, for me, it was definitely a slow and steady trial and error. And, but also I mean, I was very fortunate that I kind of just stumbled into some really good teachers along the way. And so I think the passing of knowledge is important. But yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, some of the teachers I've had, just want to probably give them some props, you know, first started tie-dyeing with a couple people in my household when I was in like 2010ish, and like Wesley Brenner, Cosmic Cove, and Noah Crozier laser dyes. Those were like those are like good friends from my hometown, and they kind of helped me. And then I kind of had this really fortunate event where I got hooked into the Jamming On folks through just like kind of crazy cosmic happenstance. And I ended up moving down to California from Washington, where I was living in 2014ish, and kind of like worked as kind of a grunt worker for them, you know, and just kind of like, you know, more spirals, you know, like just tying up, like, you only tie-dyed 20 shirts today. Like, no, they weren't like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, but anyway, so, but just through working for them, like just kind of seeing their process, I was kind of just tried to be a sponge and sponge it all up. And my time was done. I kind of just tried to take everything I've learned, and I still do that, you know, every day. It's like, it's just, what have you learned in the past, and consolidate that into today and try to be better. So anyway, I guess in short, for me, it was pretty much slow and steady, but I think, you know, the growth is happening faster these days, I think, because of things like the internet, sharing of knowledge, tie-dye videos, you know, which I think are fine. I mean, I guess one of my first teachers was YouTube. Like, you know, you can learn anything on YouTube, you know, and tie-dye included. And so, I mean, I'd watch a lot of YouTube videos when I was first learning tie-dye, and that helped me a whole lot. And now there's like way more tie-dye videos on YouTube. So I really think that would be, if someone asked me how to learn tie-dye, go to YouTube, watch all the videos, you know, learn something from every single person.
Right. Hey, I use YouTube as a resource. There's a few people out there that I think are some of the best instructional teachers. You know, I can't go a video without mentioning Mr. Tie-Dye. I think Carl does an amazing job and has just a very understandable way about the way that he demonstrates that makes it easy to pick up some of those basic techniques that allow you to progress on your own. You know, in my own tie-dye, I try to figure out new dye water recipes and new saturation issues. And I've never been really good about taking notes myself, but really just kind of remembering, oh yeah, those reds are really hard to saturate, or, you know, maybe this time I don't need quite as much dye in the water mix, or, you know, if I mix a little bit of soda ash in with the powders when I'm doing ice dye, you know, things of that nature, I think takes a little bit of exploration, you know, and as you said, it's kind of like soaking up like a sponge, a little bit from this guy, a little bit from that guy, and really getting to understand, you know, what techniques work for you. Everybody's going to be a little different, you know. I know that I've talked with the Kenny style fanatics, you know, Paul and his son Thomas, and Josh, is it Josh Cohen? I think that's big into it, and they have a way of tying those shirts that I have struggled really, really hard. And mind you, I've got arthritis in my left hand, so trying to do those kinds of ties, I really can't manage. So is it upsetting?
I guess it would be cool to try it out. I guess I just feel like there are people killing it in that sector so hard that I'm just like,
I always say, find your style and stick to it. You know, I'm at this point right now where I've kind of, because I do a lot of my tie-dye, I do for my hot sauce company, I use as logo t-shirts as merchandise. So a lot of that stuff, I stay away from the really, really complicated ties and go more for quick, visually appealing, and, you know, how can I bang out like 15 shirts in a day when I've got time to do it? Because running a hot sauce company, a family, 2 dogs, a son who's, you know, in sports, going to the gym, all that stuff, life happens, and I don't get as much time in my tie-dye studio as I'd like to. So it really is finding that technique and working on it. And right now my idea is, okay, I've figured out the pleated spiral, but I really need to hone that skill. So I think for the next 50 shirts, I hope everybody who's watching understands that if I go nothing but spiral, it's because I'm just trying to get that style locked in.
That's what it takes, man. It really does. Like, nothing's going to happen in one shirt overnight. You know, it's really just a graduated process of learning day by day. And so, yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah. So as we're kind of talking about this growth of the art form, and I try to differentiate between, and this might be a little facetious, but I find that there are artists and there are hobbyists or crafters, right? And there are people like Mr. Tie-Dye and Casual Collisions and like Push Rainbows that's charging for their tutorials. What is your opinion really on that proliferation of the ease of learning this art form? Do you feel that it has saturated the market out there for your own work, or do you feel that it's a benefit for the art form and the community as a whole?
I know that that's a hot topic. I would say for my own, since they're kind of different styles than mine, I don't think it's really like impacted my exact thing, because like, if I'm just trying to think of like, like the ripple tutorial, it's like, I don't do the ripple, so it doesn't really affect like my market, if you will. But I do think that it's like allowing a lot of people to learn stuff, and that's good. I mean, I've gone in my own progression of mindset. I'm like, I've been like, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I don't want to teach anybody anything, because like, hey, I'm trying to make a living. It's like, if somebody else is, give some people, another person, the tools to try to encroach on your living or whatever. But, at this point, I'm like, I guess I'd love to teach somebody something. I don't think I'd want to teach somebody everything. But I think that like giving people the tools to learn for themselves is great, because I mean, that's what happened with me. I mean, I don't know if that really answered your question, but it's like tutorials, double-edged sword, of course, but I think that I don't see why it's a bad thing, really. I mean, because even if someone tells you exactly how to do something, you still have to kind of like, I mean, it's going to look exactly like that until you put enough time and energy into it to make it your own. So I think people, the general viewer of a tie-dye, consumer of a tie-dye can see when something is a carbon copy and when it's infused with your own personality. So
right. No, I would agree with you, Josh. I think in my own practice, if it weren't for people with those tutorials out there, I wouldn't be where I am as a dye artist. And I consider myself an amateur artist at best, even though a lot of my customers are just completely blown away with my work. I find it, like you say, there's a way to teach people technique and skills, dye recipes, what have you, but to truly apply those in a way that you have spent months and years perfecting isn't possible without that same amount of experience. Like you said, you can tie a spiral, but if you don't know, if you don't have the muscle memory or the mental awareness and experience to apply something perfectly, it's just not going to be the same.
It blows me away, man. Like I had said, it's like I see some people who are really killing it, like who have been tie-dyeing for just 2 to 3 years or something, which like isn't that long of a time, really. To me, or to someone who's been tie-dyeing for like 40 years, it's like, I'm just like, damn, man, like that is impressive. How did you, I just like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it's because of progressive knowledge collection or like just maybe they're really just like born to do that or something. I don't know, but
right.
Props to them. That's very cool, man. But I guess it's really interesting because like I just feel like it's interesting because they're like with the internet, you see a lot of people doing stuff, but the cool and interesting thing about tie-dye that I think it's like the tie-dye is so much like there's so many bubbles of tie-dye out there, like that so many tie-dyers that don't even use the internet, that you're like don't even, that just are probably really awesome at tie-dye, but you just like some people the consumers, a lot of consumers of tie-dye don't even like, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just tie-dye is a huge thing. Like just in Eugene, where I live in Eugene, Oregon, I mean, my gosh, tie-dye central here, man. It's like there's like probably 10 tie-dyers on my block. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, you hippies up there in Oregon, man.
I mean, and Eugene actually is like super tie-dye oriented. That was one of the reasons I ended up moving here. I like visited a friend here like one time, and then I was like, just like walk down the street and everybody was like, whoa, I was like wearing a tie-dye, like, whoa, tie-dye, man. Like, and then you like see a bunch of tie-dyes, and Eugene is very open to tie-dye. So that was a big factor in me coming here. So
are you doing tie-dye full-time? Is that your only gig, or do you have a day job?
No, that's been my full-time job since like probably like 2012-ish. The last job I had was I worked at a Domino's Pizza in like 2011. It was the worst, man. I mean, it was all right actually, because I was like a delivery driver, so I got to like once I left the place and I was like driving in my car, like jamming out to some music, like it was pretty cool. But
sure,
I just hate like working for other people. But so yeah, I've been really fortunate, and I don't know. It's funny because when I first started tie-dyeing, it was like the whole big driving factor behind my tie-dyeing was like, I don't want to work for other people. You know, I just want to sit around and like, or not sit around, but like, you know, just I kind of want to like do my own thing, have more freedom, be able to like do whatever I want. And now I'm like kind of coming full circle as I'm getting a little older. You know, I've been doing this for like, you know, and now I'm like, I don't know, like my mindset is changing. I'm like, wait, do I like want a little more financial stability or something? Like, I don't know, like it's kind of interesting. And so I think I'd like to tie-dye forever in some semblance, but to do that as a full-time job as I've been doing it is it's more stressful than I anticipated.
Yeah, man, when you got bills and expectations, yeah.
My goodness. And just like it's just so much more, it's a lot, like to anyone thinking about getting into it, it's awesome and very rewarding in so many ways. But it really is quite a bit of mental takes a lot of mental fortitude to keep everything together, man, because it's like taking a million orders, doing a million things. You got to photograph things. You got to use the internet, man, which actually, okay, that brings me to my next point that you didn't ask about. I said like the internet is like my least favorite part about tie-dye, man, because like I just am not an internet guy. I'm not a social media guy. And I just like, I hate having to use the internet and social media all the time. But anyway, it is like kind of a necessary part if you're trying to sell stuff on the internet. You got to like kind of sell yourself. And so anyway, that's my story.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm not a great social media guy myself. I tend to choose to live my day in experience rather than capturing it on a device and sharing it with the world. But as a business owner, as an event promoter, I got to shift. I got to shift my thinking into, you know, the consumers these days are really into using that as a tool to find new products. And I'll be perfectly honest, Josh, I think you do really well on social media. You know, I follow you on Instagram and I see what you're posting on Facebook, and you know, I mean, that's how I found you originally, is when I was beginning my tie-dye journey. I was, you know, I put in the hashtag tie-dye and just search tie-dye, and the ones that I connected with were really ones that I visually thought were kind of my cup of tea, you know, just that that style or that art form that I felt was elevated beyond just, you know, what I was doing as a you know, spiral and splash some dye on it. So kudos to you, bro. I think you're doing pretty good.
It's funny, like I said, double-edged sword. It really does. I mean, you can learn things, you can, you know, talk to people, meet new people and stuff. But I think that there are pros and cons to the whole social media, internet world out there. And but yes, it's nice to be able to meet new people and see new things out there and everything.
So I wanted to ask you, aside from the sort of financial, you know, ups and downs of being a full-time tie-dyer, what do you what are some of the trends as an artist have you found for yourself? Like, do you tend to make a bunch of make a bunch of art and then catalog it all and then blast it out? Or do you do like one or two pieces, post it, another couple of pieces, post it? What do you found has worked for you as far as production, sales, as it were, advertising, however you want to categorize it?
I'd say it's changing, and I still haven't found the perfect way for myself. But it's changed over time. Like I make tie-dye every single day, you know, for 8+ hours probably a day, you know, and you know, it's for years it can get exhausting. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like it's changed. You know, I used to, you know, so I make them and I make them and I make them, and then I photograph them whenever I, you know, so what I used to do is like just upload a couple every day. Because right now I'm selling on Etsy and through social media platforms and such. But for Etsy, I kind of realized with like the algorithm, I think on Etsy, you know, it's like you kind of get boosted on your recency. So that's like I think a tip if anybody's using Etsy, you know, and so like I would add a couple new things every day. Like let's say I had 20 things, you know, I would add a couple new things every day for like 10 days, you know, and then
right.
People would but anyway, but then like with kind of the rise of social media and stuff, and then there's like the drops are hot, you know, and so people want the drops, you know, and it's like, all right, I'll do that, you know. So that's kind of what I'm doing now is like, you know, instead of doing a couple every day, I'll kind of like maybe once every couple of weeks, if I can manage, maybe every once a month or something, like, you know, add X amount of items, you know, make them available and stuff. I don't know, Steve, and that's the way I do it. Some people have a lot of success with just like doing like 6 to 8 a week, because I think scarcity is a big thing that people, you know, salesman technique, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, it's like it's changing for me. I don't know if the drop thing is really the greatest way for me, but that's what I've been doing, and it seems like it has pros and cons and everything. But for me, I don't think I've found the golden ticket for myself.
Sure.
I think that, and I think as a tie-dyer, as anything in life, you know, you got to kind of be open to constantly evolving, changing, doing whatever, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of just like realize that you got to always be open to changing and stuff. So,
Right. Oh yeah, open to change, man. That's what growing old is all about.
I'm not there yet, but
Right. Well, to give you an example, when I was in high school, nobody had computers in their rooms. There was one computer lab filled with, you know, the Mac classics that everybody had to bring their floppy disks in to save their research papers on. Yeah, it was a nightmare, man. I can only imagine what it was like, you know, when there were only typewriters. So a couple of closing questions. What right now is your favorite medium? Shirts, bandanas, tapestries. What is your favorite type of project these days?
Tapestries for sure. I mean, are my favorite to express an idea. Maybe not for like time consumption purposes, because they're obviously going to take much longer. But I think that tapestries are going to be the best just because you have the most space, the most freedom to express an idea. You know, since it's like a thinner fabric, you can get more folding. I just think there's so much more opportunity to really do whatever you want to do, whatever that idea may be. But I think, you know, you can make art on anything. And some people really like bandanas. You know, I think it's a good kind of like, and I like making bandanas. You know, I think like it's good as a maker to have different levels of things, because, you know, some people can't spend $500 on a giant tapestry. They want to spend $20 on a small little bandana that you can also hang on your wall if you want. But for me, yes, if I want to express an artful idea, probably a tapestry would be my chosen medium.
Cool. Cool. Who do you think, you mentioned a few earlier, but who do you think right now you look up to most as a tie-dye inspiration, or somebody that you just really love the work they're putting out?
I don't know, man. There's just so many good tie-dyers out there. I don't know, I don't know. So many good tie-dyers out there, man. Like I said, I got to give props to like Benjamin Strebel, Jeremy, and their half brother Paul Waghorn, man. The three at the Jam and On Studios, man. I mean, I think that they are great work, really helped me, so I got to give them props. And just kind of like I love all the people on the internet, all the big names on the social medias and stuff. I mean, man, I look at their stuff and I say, dang, they're doing really good stuff. But I think like the coolest people, probably the coolest people to me are like the people who are just like old school people, man, like that are just like, I don't know, like Hugo and stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen that guy. He's like an older, like the older generation tie-dyers are the most inspiring to me. Got to give credit to Mr. Tie-Dye, dude, because I really love Mr. Tie-Dye's work. And I also just appreciate his like lack of like ego that comes with his teaching methods. And like, because I think humility and humbleness is just like such a good quality to have, you know what I'm saying? And like, sure. I just think that the way he selflessly teaches, shares his techniques with people is really cool, because I know there's a lot of people out there who have benefited from that and have started their journey from his teachings and stuff. And so it's really cool that he can like plant seeds and they can grow all over the world, so that's pretty cool.
Right. Cool. Yeah, totally. So last question. What's your favorite color?
Blue, probably, I would say. Conjunction. But if I'm like wearing a color, it's funny because I would say blue is probably, I'm just like, the sky is blue. The sky is pretty. But, it's like, I think for the colors that I wear the most, like in tie-dye, it's funny because the stuff I end up keeping is like usually like black and gray. It's like, I'll be like wearing tie-dye and I'll realize I'm just like one big one-piece black and gray tie-dye. I'm just like, what am I doing here? So I'm
the
like,
flannel you got on right now, man, black and gray. Perfect.
Totally. I agree. For clothing though, no, I mean, it's like, it's funny, man. Yeah. Black, probably blue, gray, black. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite color that you like to use when dyeing?
Yeah, I would say probably turquoise is a really quality color, but I think the most versatile color is lemon yellow for me, because it's bright. You can mix it with a lot of things. It's like, I mean, for all the colors, I use 5 or 6 gradients within the color set. But like for yellows, I think lemon yellow is the yellow for me,
Nice. We're gonna take that little snippet and send that to Dharma.
Yeah, they should sponsor me for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I love lemon yellow. I agree. My favorite really is like the royal blue or the cerulean. I was so heartbroken when cerulean was out of stock for so long, and just glad it came back. So
that was tough. See, for me, like the azure blue was the one that they've been out of, and I'm like, but man, that whole like time period of like whenever it was like an 8-month time period where like everything was sold out, and like something would come in stock and I'd buy like 10 pounds of it and I'd be like, all right, I gotta like back stock. I still have like PTSD from that, dude. I'm like stocking up colors in my garage like for the color apocalypse, dude.
Hey man, at least you'll have tie-dye during the apocalypse.
That's what I'm saying. Totally.
Cool, Josh. Well, thank you so much, man. Again, Barefoot Lazer tie-dye, you guys. If you've made it this far and have watched the entire interview, hopefully you've learned something a little bit about one of my favorite artists out there. like I said, he is on Instagram, Facebook, Etsy. I'll post all of that stuff. Josh, do you have any last final parting thoughts or shout outs or anything you want to do before we sign off?
I don't know. I just say thanks for having me, man. And to anybody watching, thanks for tie-dyeing, and yeah, I don't know. I hope everybody just stays positive and has a nice life. You know what I'm saying? Be good to everybody. Be nice to the people that you love and the people that you don't love too. Just be good to everybody. So I don't know.
There you go. I couldn't say it better, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of the Tie-Dye Mindset here with Greg Foster and our buddy Josh from Barefoot Lazer. Please go check him out, support his work. He does amazing stuff, really, really high quality. And if you like hot sauce, check out Inferno Farms. I have to do a self plug. So other than that, guys, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. And don't forget to be colorful.
Yeah.